Have you ever thought of how generational changes impacted nature? Well, we're here to discuss about this topic.
I would like to recall the generations that we have passed through and currently in, which include the baby boomers, builders, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha.
The first three generations that we're going to be talking about are the oldest generations. These include from the years 1929 to 1979. These include the baby boomers, the builders, and Generation X. During these years, people viewed nature as a resource, and they were rooted in our cultural society and had a utilitarian perspective. Towards the end of Generation X, people started to notice the disastrous consequences caused by the uncontrolled industrialization on the ecosystem. Because during these years, there has been economic depression, industrial revolution, and war, which has impacted the way people viewed nature and used it. Now, what about the other generations? What perspective did they have towards nature?
The other generations include the Gen Z, Gen Y, and Gen Alpha. They've impacted the world and influenced it in several ways, including bringing technological advance into our daily lives, providing us with different communication platforms. There's an important factor. Well as they also contributed to a very important factor, is bringing environmental changes and increasing its awareness and activism. As we know, here, due to the climate changes and ecological concerns, as well as them experiencing many different problems of nature, as pollution of air, water, and soil. So, this changed their perspective and awareness towards it because they've seen the negative aspects acting on it. So, they want to change it. So, but how?
Now, which generation had the most impact towards the nature? And why, of course?
This generation include the millennials, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha. They've impacted the world in several ways. I don't want to bring Gen Alpha into the speech because they're just up to 7 years old and haven't impacted in a big way. Well, let's refer to the two most important ones, which include the millennials and the Gen Z. How do the millennials influence? As I represented today in the chart, you've seen that they bring the personality of global warming into their heart, opening up newer donations, as well as volunteering for doing works that could impact in a very positive way. Also referring to scientific studies. Well, although the Gen Zs, how did they influence? Looking to all the contributed factors of the millennials, they contribute and listen and learn from them. Well, they look at their perspective, which is right, which is correct about the nature. So they go on to study into environmental objects and also studies of environment, which they learn from how to provide scientific researches as artificial meat, which is also important, foundation of newer vehicles like hybrid, or even as you can see at Teslas, as we know they're electric. These are all small changes that could impact the nature in a important way. But what are the suggested actions that we shall take towards bringing our society in a more useful way?
The actions that we must take to ensure a sustainable environment towards our future generations are technological advancement, education, and policy intervention. I would like to start with technological advancement, which can help narrow generational gaps further, as well as digital platforms could be employed for information dissemination. Also, meaningful conversations and collective initiatives, which can all promote sustainability for the future generations. Virtual reality can place people within natural environments and make them love nature more, to have a more motivation towards it and saving it. Sustainable technology, such as solar panels, wind turbines, hydropowers, they can all reduce our dependence towards non-renewable resources and cut out green gas emission. Now, what about policy intervention? Policy intervention plays an important role in aligning societal values with environmental sustainability. Organizations and governments should order legislation promoting eco-friendly habits, investment in renewable sources of power, and as well as protection of natural assets. The innovation driven by the partnerships of public and private sectors can all result in economic growth, which is parallel to nature. Now, what factor does education play in these suggested actions?
Education, it acts as an effective tool. How? It promotes ecological literacy and stewardship towards environmental nurturing from early childhood. As most of us present here today are students, we go to school daily, we learn stuff, obtain knowledge, and as well as experience that one day may be a useful factor towards our nature. Well, I suggest that we bring the teaching material to focus on sustainable behavior as well as climatology and environmental concerns, which are important factors. I don't mean that we shall bring like topics that we shall read books. No, we should present in a way that more researches are done, and so students should be easy with this topic and obtain it by heart.
We'd like to close with a word spoken by Barack Obama. We are the first generation that feels the impact that has been impacted by climate change, and the last generation that can do anything about it. So what will you guys do? Feel free to contact us via our Gmails and our phone numbers. Special thanks, and we would like to thank Ms. Dai, the principal of TIS Girls, Ms. Hosseini, the Council of Research Departments, and all the colleagues that helped us.
Mr. Jiba, the principal of Tehran International Boys School, and as well as Ms. Tyree, the president of ISCTAL, and all other organizers of the ISCTALK for letting us to bring our new ideas and talk about them today.
We'd also like to thank our parents, our grandma, and my siblings for inspiring us and supporting us through this journey. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk at TIS. I hope you guys enjoyed.